Okay, we'll call the City Council Committee of the Whole for September 27th to order. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Brereton,
Here.
Fleury,
Present.
Frank,
Here.
Freeman. Freeman is absent. McGee,
Here.
Mulhall,
Here.
Porter. Porter is absent. Prather,
Here.
Snow,
Here.
Stevens,
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. Under public comment, I don't think we have anybody registered for public comment, but I do know that Boy Scout Troop 141 is here with us tonight, so welcome. And I don't know if anybody wants to speak to the council regarding that. I know they have done some fine things in the community.
They are all terrified.
Well, well, you know what? Would you like to say a few words on their behalf? If you would, please. Sure. Thank you.
I'm not shy.
No, I know.
We know that.
Thank you. State your name and,
Hi, I'm Terry Glass, and I'm just a Scout mom and a Merit Badge counselor. The boys that you see here tonight are from Troop 141. They are working on their citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. And just for the record, this is the troop that painted all of the fire hydrants on Logan Avenue and State Street for the city. So we're very proud of this group of boys, and hopefully they will learn something about their community tonight. So thank you.
well, thank you very much, Terry, for coming, and thank you, gentlemen, for coming down here. I hope you do learn something. And thank you for your previous work, too, your painting, all the paint work that you did. Appreciate it. We do not have anything under public forum. Reports of officers, boards, and special committees. We have recognition of Officer Anthony Jones completing probation, and then also followed by a presentation of AAIM awards to Officers Korn and Garcia. Chief Woody. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Shane Woody. I'm the police chief with the Belvedere Police Department. And this evening, I just want to take an opportunity to congratulate Officer Anthony Jones. The police department typically will introduce an officer once they've met their probationary obligation. And literally, today is Tony's probationary period where it's been expired. So what Tony has done over the last 18 months is he's gone through an application process and a testing process for the police department, which consists at times for 2 years. So he successfully completed that. He was able to go through the background process. He went to the basic academy for 3.5 months, 14 weeks, which probably seemed like a lot longer at times, probably. And then that's just the beginning. Because we tell them, just because you've accomplished that doesn't mean that, you're in the clear. Now the real work begins. You come back and you sit with an FTO for the next 4 months at a minimum. And you go and you learn basically how to apply all of those things that they taught you at the basic academy. So it's real world application. Some people pick it up quicker than others. Tony, he did just fine. And after 4 months, he was out on his own and served the remainder of his probationary period as solo patrol. And tonight, I'd like to present him with his actual badges. He's going to be badge number 417. Until tonight, he's been wearing what we call a temporary badge. We just pick one. It doesn't really even matter. Well, we pick one and say, here, wear this for a little while. Hopefully things work out. And to be perfectly honest with you, with Tony, there was never any question. All of the feedback we had gotten from the supervisors just been outstanding. In cops, we tend to be a little pessimistic and negative at times, but you never hear a bad word about Officer Jones. But more importantly, you never hear a bad word about him from the community. The people we're here to serve. they tend to be satisfied and very happy with the service that he provides. And for that, I want to say thank you for serving our community as well as you have. Thank you, Chief. Did you want to take it? Please.
I think Chief Woody's being very nice when he says there's never been a question about anything. I think it's been a very questionable year or year and a half for anyone in the world. And I've just been adding my own stuff onto that. But throughout the whole process, I want to thank the City of Belvedere, Chief Woody, Deputy Chief Wallace, and Gardner, as well as Sergeant Smaha, Sergeant Damon, everyone else at the police department for taking a chance on me when I was kind of taking a chance on myself. And I'm very happy that it worked out and got to the place that it is right now, and it's just continuing to learn, and the work continues. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if I may have just one more moment of your time. I would like to present Kelly Krenzer. She is a representative from AIM, Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists. If I could have Officer Garcia and Korn please step up. Kelly is going to be presenting them with AIM Awards, and I will let her go ahead and tell her story.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Kelly Krenzer, and as Chief Woody has said, I am an AIM victim advocate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me here again today. It's always my pleasure to present to the City Council and to the people of Belvedere the accomplishments of the Belvedere Police Department. For those of you that do not know me, I am also a mother who has lost her child due to a drunk driver. My son Christopher was killed in 2010 because of a drunk driver in Rockford, and Chris was only 20 years old. He was hit by another 20-year-old drunk driver, and he was killed instantly at the corner of Perryville and Newburgh. After Chris was killed, our world basically fell apart for a few years. You know, it took an awful lot to stand up and to get busy and to make a difference within the community. And this is why I became a victim advocate. I go to court with victims of impaired driving crashes, distracted driving crashes in Belvedere, Boone, McHenry County, and Ogle County. And it's now my main purpose in life to support other people that are impacted by drunk drivers and distracted drivers. I personally always get a real sense of accomplishment presenting these awards to our officers who are out there every day on our roads. I know what these officers are up against. I see it every day in court. I see the abuse that they take from the public. I see the abuse that they get in the system. And I know how hard their job is, as we all do here. And I know that they're out there diligently trying to get distracted drivers and drunk drivers off of our roads. So I am always very pleased to present these awards. We have our first award today is Officer Matthew Korn. Officer Korn, present you with that. Can I ask you, Officer, how many DUIs?
For this year?
9. Officer Korn has 9 DUI arrests. So let's give him a round of applause. That is 9 people that did not get a potential phone call like we got the night that Chris was killed. 9 people that were taken off the roads that were arrested for driving impaired, driving under the influence. And we also have an Officer Christopher Garcia also. How many do you have?
12.
And Officer Garcia, 12. Like to thank the Belvedere Police Department and these officers for their outstanding work day in and day out. And as most of the department knows, it's a hard job and it's a meaningful job, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
So, thank you for this opportunity to present those awards and recognition. Just to give you a quick idea of how important DUI enforcement is, it's one of the violations that the police department emphasizes among many others. But specifically DUI, we recognize because we've seen firsthand the carnage that it can create when somebody has too much to drink and gets behind the wheel of a vehicle. We've been to those accidents. We've seen the people that are impacted, not only in the accident, but the families. So it's something that we take very important, that's important to us. And I just want to thank Ms. Krenzer for coming tonight and sharing her story. That takes a lot of strength, and it's got to be very, very difficult to relive that every year. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Chief. And thank you, Officer Jones, Deputy Chief Wallace, Officer Korn, and Officer Garcia. Thank you very much. I know Officer Jones, your parents, I met them. They're out here. I know how proud they are of you. So thank you for coming as well. And Ms. Krenzer doesn't get any tougher than that. So I was on the council as an alderman the first time that you presented before this council. And we're certainly grateful that you come back every year as a reminder how important that it is for DUI. Make sure that we enforce that. So, Officers Korn and Garcia, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have proclamation for National Voter Day. We have Joan Sage here tonight. Hi, Joan.
Mayor, this is Carol Davies. She's our Voter Services Chairperson.
Carol.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Joan, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Mayor.
I have a proclamation here that I wanted to read tonight and present to Joan. Whereas in the United States, voting is both a right and responsibility of citizenship, and whereas registering to vote is the first step in letting our voices be heard, and whereas the League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford is a nonpartisan organization and will provide a registration application to anyone who requests one, regardless of party or candidate preference or any other factors. And whereas registering to vote can help ensure voices are heard at the ballot box, and whereas the League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford is dedicating to enabling citizens to vote by providing opportunities for voter registration, and whereas the League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford will set up voter registration at the Ida Public Library, where individuals can register to vote on National Voter Registration Day, September 28, 2021. Now therefore, I, Clinton Morris, serving as Mayor Belvedere, so do proclaim September 28, 2021 as Voter Registration Day. And I would like to give this to you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And would you like to say a few words, and Joan as well?
Carol, come right
Good evening. I'm Carol Davies. I am the chair of Voter Services with League of Women Voters of Greater Rockford, which includes Boone County and Winnebago. As mentioned in this proclamation, we have set up a voter registration drive at Ida Public Library tomorrow. So if there's anyone that you know who needs to register to vote, they can go to Ida Public Library and get registered. A little information about National Voter Registration Day, which is probably not a holiday that a lot of people know about. It is a civic, nonpartisan holiday. It celebrates democracy, but it also brings attention and awareness to voter registration opportunities so that people learn what you need to register to vote, and they learn where you can go to register to vote. This holiday was established in 2012, so it's pretty new. And over the years that it has been established, it has created momentum And over time, 4.5 million voters registered on National Registration Day. So it's become quite an event. The League is proud of its nonpartisan status, and we're very happy to join other volunteers and organizations across the United States tomorrow to celebrate democracy and to register voters. I want to thank the mayor and the members of the city council and all the people who are here that we have been honored with this proclamation, and we hope that you will check your voter registration and encourage those you know to get registered if they're not. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. That's all right. That's all right. And thank you, Carol. Thank you very much for coming. We also have with Comcast, Joan Sage is here, and she had put us a handout here regarding Comcast. So Joan, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's fun to be on two organizations. Today, I'll speak about Comcast, and thank you, Carol. She and I serve on the board of the League of Women Voters, so thank you so much. The packet that you have before you is related to the different things that Comcast has been doing. Many of you are probably familiar with our Internet Essentials program, which provides low-cost internet for low-income families. Anyone who is on any kind of assistance can receive Comcast $50 internet for $9.95. If someone is a new customer to Internet Essentials, we are offering 60 days of free service, and after that, it will be $9.95. For anyone who has a child in the Belvedere School District, the school district will pick up that $9.95 after the 60 days of free. We know that not all families' homes are necessarily conducive to having internet in the home, so we're working with the YMCA to install what we're calling lift zones. Comcast we've just announced that we're on the brink of putting in 1,000 of these across the United States, and I'm very proud to say that we're looking to make sure that Belvedere has one of those as well. This offers anyone the opportunity to go into the facility and use Wi-Fi at no cost. So those are a couple of the things that we're doing. Important to know also that Comcast is here to invest to make sure that businesses have good access. There is a flyer in your little packet that explains what we have for business. We recently did a $200,000 investment over on Moorheim Drive to make sure that development can grow and businesses can have access. You do have my business card, so that if you have any questions about anything that is related to Comcast, internet, cable, any of those things, please do feel free to give me a call and send me an email. You've got my cell phone, so you have good access to me with that. So thank you so much, Mayor and Council folks. I'll be here if you have any questions. Otherwise, please do reach out at any time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joan, for both your work with Comcast and, of course, with the League of Women Voters. Appreciate it. All right, moving down the agenda, we have public safety unfinished business. So actually, we don't have any. Item 2, public safety new business. We'll first have Chief Woody with any updates he may want to give. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since the last update, the police department has experienced a few items worth noting. First, from an enforcement standpoint, one of our patrol officers attempted to stop a vehicle for an equipment violation. The vehicle fled out of sight, then immediately pulled over and ultimately was arrested for fleeing to elude possession of cannabis with intent to deliver. The next morning, a member of our community, a concerned citizen, contacted the police department regarding a backpack that was found. Police arrived and was given the backpack, which contained 8 ounces of cannabis, plastic baggies, and scales, as well as a .45 caliber handgun. Also contained in the bag was paperwork identifying the owner who was arrested the night before and had fled from police. The suspect ultimately was charged with those offenses as well. The reason why I mention this is I know sometimes the police department sometimes gets a rap for stopping vehicles for minor violations. I think this is a perfect example of why it's important to concentrate not only on those things that are obvious, but sometimes those minor violations can also turn out to be something very significant. So. Also, since the last update, the community policing program has had their most recent community policing academy. That started September 16th. We're 2 weeks into it. Thank you, Mayor, for coming and saying a few words. I know the group appreciated that. The police department had received a STEP grant. STEP is from IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation. It's a DUI Sustained Traffic Enforcement Program grant, and they awarded us $34,860. I had passed around a press release from an incident that occurred last night that ultimately resulted in our first homicide in 6 years. So please refer to that information, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can. Also, regarding our COSAP grant, I'd like to just acknowledge some information or feedback, if you will, regarding Officer Schwartz. This came from a county sergeant sent to Deputy Chief Wallace, stating that he wanted Deputy Chief Wallace to know what a great job Officer Schwartz is doing responding to their shift's email referrals for domestics and drug-related offenses. He states that he knows she's busy, so they appreciate her keeping them informed on her follow-ups. It's clear to them that she is dedicated to her job. And I know at some point Jessica Perillo is planning to come speak to the council with some more information regarding the progress of the program. And until then, I just feel like it's my responsibility to give you what feedback and information that I can get until that time. So that's all I had, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Does anybody have any questions for the Chief? Chief Woody? All right, hearing none. Thanks again, Chief. The Fire Department, item B, Chief Iser, any update?
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
The fire department has responded to 343 calls for service since I last reported. The fire department also took part in the 67th annual Fill the Boot fundraising campaign for muscular dystrophy. Fill the Boot has been a strong firefighter tradition, giving families with muscular dystrophy in hometowns across America hope for the future and support for today. Belvedere Fire raised over $11,100 this past Labor Day. Thank you to our citizens. Belvedere Fire Department hosted a breakfast for all on-duty first responders on Saturday, September 11th, 2021. Agencies taking part in the 20th anniversary of the attacks on America were as follows: District Number 2, Lifeline, Belvedere Police, and Boone County Sheriff's Department. A short remembrance ceremony was performed after the breakfast to honor all the Americans who lost their lives on 9/11. Mayor, also thank you for attending that. Appreciate it. Also in attendance, Alderman Stevens, and Alderman Fleury. Thank you guys for coming. The department is presently seeking quotes for a new engine. I will be bringing those quotes and recommendations to you in next month's public safety meeting. The department still has 2 firefighters out on long-term injury. We're hoping to have one back by mid to late October. Overtime is still on the rise in order to maintain a 7-man minimum staffing. I will take any questions at this time.
Anybody have any questions? Any comments? Chief, there was an open house, correct, coming up or forthcoming?
Thank you, Mayor.
You bet.
It was only 8 hours ago we talked about that, right? Yes, we have an open house coming up on this Sunday, and it'll go from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. There's lots of good things for people to do, lots of educational opportunities for kids, and I think also for adults alike. So, I'd like to see you down there. 1 to 4, Station 1, 123 South State. Thank you.
You bet, thank you. All right, moving along, Finance and Personnel, item 3, unfinished business, we have none. Item 4, Finance and Personnel, new business. We do have Mr. Tim Knopf here with Gallagher Insurance. Tim, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Knopf from Williams Manny Gallagher, and tonight you have before you in your packets information with regards to our renewal for both our medical plan for the city of Belvedere for its employees as well as the dental plan. And Mr. Drella said I should keep this to 2 minutes or less, so we'll try to do that. But I believe we have good news. So as you may have seen in there, our medical plan with Blue Cross last year when we did the renewal, we negotiated with them for a 2-year rate lock. And so that is still in that rate lock concession period. So at renewal on 1/1 of '22, we will have no adjustments in the premiums whatsoever for this next calendar year. So that's good news. The plan designs stay exactly the same. The carrier, Blue Cross's network of providers will stay exactly the same. So there isn't any changes that would have any impact at all on any employee within the city of Belvedere for 2022. And then we're hoping when 2023 comes along that we can bring you good news as well. And we'll probably ask them again for another 2-year rate lock. If we can get it from them, we're going to get it for you. So that's part of our deal from that perspective. So we'll do what we can as we have over the last 20 years of working diligently with the city. And it's been a great relationship with you, and we appreciate the opportunity for sure. On the dental plan, the organization is self-funded, and it has been for a number of years, and we use Envision as the vendor. And we went back to them to ask what they were going to do with rates and adjustments for 2022 as well, and they said that they're going to pass on any adjustments in pricing. So therefore, our dental plan for the next calendar year will be exactly the same in pricing as it has been for 2021 year. So 0% increase on both medical and dental with no changes in network, access to care, and plan designs for your employees for both medical and dental for next calendar year. So I think that's pretty good. So I wanted to share that information with the City Council tonight and answer any questions that anybody may have before you guys vote on that for next year. Did I do 2 minutes? Did I do all right?
Actually, I think you did. Does anybody have any questions for Tim? Any questions, any concerns? I guess they want you to live within that 2 minutes, huh, Tim? I don't.
They did, I guess. So thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. And we'll keep working hard for the city going forward, definitely. And we appreciate the opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Tim.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Voted last year for both years, so I don't think we need to vote again.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, well, actually, the clerk just informed me, I wasn't here last year, but for those of you that were, evidently that was voted on at that time for a 2-year commitment. So I think that we've already done that. Tim, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming.
Anytime.
And thank you for helping the city save money.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
With the new fire truck.
Yeah.
Right?
Not nearly enough.
That'll work.
Okay. Very good. All right, thank you so much. We'll just continue here to move along. Under 4B, we have Finance Department update. Shannon Hanson. Shannon?
Thank you, Mayor Morris. 2 things I wanted to mention. Sicajar auditors do plan on being at the October 25th Committee of the Whole meeting to present their findings on our audit. And also beginning in December, we will start receiving, I believe at $10,000 a month, the civic contribution from MC Squared as part of our electric aggregation program.
All right, thank you. And so even though the rates that we had signed with MC Squared, they were never going to be any higher than what ComEd allows residents to purchase. never going to be any higher than that. They'll always be, they'll mirror that. One of the benefits was we had received $120,000 a year gift from them, I guess. But it's going to be a three-year commitment, and that was a contract. So thank you, Shannon. And then also item C, the American Rescue Plan Act funds for your comment.
So you do have in your packets a memo. We have received this year's distribution, which was just over 1.7 million. And we are working with Police Chief Woody and Fire Chief Heiser and Mr. Anderson to develop a list of eligible uses for those funds. And I think proposals are due Wednesday, so we'll start taking a look at those to find out how we'll spend the 1.7 this year. And we'll get the second installment about this time next year.
All right. Thank you, Shannon. Appreciate it. And Brent, don't hold your hand up so high this time. All right. Yeah. Pardon me. Need a motion on the first installment or in the amount. Okay. So with that being said, I'd recommend a motion to accept the American Rescue Plan Act funds in the amount of $3,418,045.26. Motion by Alderman Fleury. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Snow. Any comments or questions regarding that? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. And item number 5, we have 5A, Belvedere Area Chamber Commerce street closure. In your packet, there was a correspondence from September 22nd from the Chamber, and it asked for the street closure to temporarily close State Street between Pleasant and Logan, as well as Logan Avenue between State Street and Main Street, South State. So with that being said, could I get a motion to that effect? Do I have a second? Motion by Alderman Sow, second by Alderwoman Fleury. Now any discussion? Any concerns? Any questions? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do that again?
Yeah.
That's twice. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Prather.
What do we know?
I did catch Fleury with that second time, didn't I? All right. Well, I apologize. All right. Any questions besides that one? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. Thank you. Motion passed. Okay, and then tonight in your packets, I had placed on September 15th an appointment to the Planning Zoning Commission. I had offered up Mr. Dan Druckery to the vacant seat of the Planning Zoning Commission that was created when Alderwoman Mulhall was sworn in as alderperson on May 3rd. The appointment is for the unexpired term ending April 30th, 2026. And I would ask for a motion to consent to the appointment of Dan Druckery to the Planning Zoning Commission, filling the unexpired term of Natalie Mulhall through April 30th of 2026. Motion by Alderman. Motion by Alderman Stevens, second by Alderwoman Frank. And I had attached a resume with Mr. Druckery's experience on it. I know it's not all there, but I think it speaks volumes. He was United States Air Force lieutenant, is a bachelor's degree in social sciences from University of Wisconsin Superior. I've known him myself quite a while. He's a fine gentleman, and I appreciate his interests. They're not easy to fill. It's hard to get commitment from people, but I appreciate you stepping forward, Mr. Druckery. So if you want to say anything, you're welcome. Okay. And anybody have any questions for him? He may answer them, he may not. All right, I don't hear any, so we have a motion and a second on the floor then. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, Mr. Druckery, appreciate it. We have Northern Illinois Council of Government membership. Next, item C, and we had chatted a little bit about this regarding what they do. I know they were instrumental with Stellantis, with sending out a letter that was a regional letter of support for our auto manufacturing plant. It doesn't get any more important for us than that, I don't believe. Probably not only in the community in Belvedere, but in the region. I would recommend the motion then. I would ask for a motion authorizing the City of Belvedere to join the Northern Illinois Council of Governments, known as the North COG, with an initial contribution of $5,000 for the year 2022. The mayor or his designee to serve as director of North COG, and for the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate membership in North COG. So could I get a motion to that effect?
I'll make that
Motion by Alderman McGee, second by Alderman Stevens. Any questions regarding that? That was the presentation that Michael Dunn, had come to us a couple weeks ago. Alderwoman Mulhall.
Yeah, so I'm just a little curious. So this falls under R1TC, correct?
Yeah, well, are you saying, do they mirror one another? Is that it, or is that your question?
When I look at the people on the board or the members of R1TC, there's quite a few more on R1TC than there are here.
Alderman Snow?
I think it has to do with the fact they were gonna be the 501c, and they needed that in order to facilitate getting monies, grant money to them, I'm assuming. That's my understanding. There was a reason for it and it does, in the top of the memo, it does talk about the 501c, so I think that's why it's a separate thing. And it's probably too new. They don't have the stuff out there because they're still trying to organize, so.
Well, just to make clear, they are trying to organize, they are trying to get some of the communities that are involved in this. I know it does allow, one of the benefits with having just the North COG, the Northern Illinois Council of Governments, is correct, they can lobby. For instance, I know there's a solar farm directive that's going to be coming out that allows the municipalities to go ahead and purchase electricity from solar farms that they're going to help establish as well. For instance, with Stellantis, they can certainly target Stellantis a little bit better, I guess, for the community, especially for us, which they did. But if the council isn't, I had Mr. Dunn come here because I wanted to make sure that we could have the questions answered. If I don't have them all, certainly I was hoping that we would call me early or Mr. Dunn a little bit early. We can do that. We can make a motion to table this. It's up to the council, but I think that it is beneficial. I think as a as a group that's just the Northern Council of Government, the North Council of Government, I think it is beneficial for us to join. We don't have to. if we choose not to. I think it's a really good, efficient way to get $5,000 worth of lobbying out of this area, because we can't afford to do it. And I think that there's certain things that they can do that obviously we can't. So, Alderman Snow.
So two things. I think we should go ahead and move forward. We can always table it next week. And the other is, out of curiosity, where does this actually come out of? What line item or what funding in our budget? Or is this out of reserve or some other fund?
We've got the money in the miscellaneous line item that we can pull it from.
Alderwoman Mohawk.
I'm not
Yes.
sure if anyone has this information at their hands, but how much is it for our boards and for our one PC?
To tell you the truth, I don't know, because that was, my predecessor had inked that deal, and I don't know what he had done with making the council aware that there was even an R1. I wasn't even aware of it when I took office, so that, I don't know. I assume there is a fee for that, but.
$588,000 in membership fees for training.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's $2,500 or $5,000.
Maybe
We can
Shannon
pull that
answer.
information and have it for you next week.
I did try and look in the budget
Yeah.
and try to find the information
Yeah.
myself, but.
Yeah. No, I just want to be clear on that, at the time that I had sat in the seat, I wasn't even aware there was an R1. I don't know if the council ever had a presentation. Some of the members that were here, if R1 ever came and made a presentation to the council. I don't know. I don't think so. So, yeah, in the past. Mm.
At this point, I kind of feel like COG is a little bit redundant of what
Mhm.
R1PC can do.
Mhm.
More than the number of.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's, if you choose to vote, pass it tonight, any questions that you have, I'll get you answers to. And if we have to, we can have Mike Dunn come back here and explain what the $5,000 is for. I don't know, as far as any initiation with R1, I don't know. I wasn't even aware that we were in R1 until after I took office. So I know you weren't here on the council then, so I don't know what other aldermen that were here may recall whether or not we had R1 come over here and make a presentation, and any contract, any details or any contract that the city had inked with them, because I don't know what that is. Yeah, and neither did it with me. So anyhow, we'll.
I thought they came over way when they were trying to get it up and running, but as to any money we paid to them, I do not remember it.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't believe that was explained to the council. I don't believe it was presented to the council.
I thought
And-
some of the R1 money was coming from the sales of the delinquent property and the profits from that, I thought.
No, that money goes all back into land bank and is
Land
segregated
bank,
from the R1
no.
funds.
Wrong fund.
R1 received a lot of their funding as the MPO through the federal government, through the monies that collected for road purposes and transportation purposes, but I don't recall how much we contributed.
And I don't know if city attorney, if you recall, that they had come here and R1 had spoke or presented a contract prior to my being here. With that being said, is there any other questions? We'll get Alderwoman Mohal will.
I do also just want to say that I went through all the minutes from R1PC, and if this group was formed out of R1PC, I couldn't.
Okay, we will, between now and next week, then we'll try and, if we have to, we'll bring Mr. Dunn back. I know that part of it is lobbying, them being able to lobby on our behalf, and specifically with what they've identified as the members of North Cog. So We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion passed. And we have item D on the agenda tonight, resolution number 2021-17, a resolution urging the state of Illinois to provide appropriate incentives for Stellantis and electric vehicle, new vehicle and electric vehicle manufacturing. And I will read this. Resolution 2021-17, whereas Stellantis owns and operates the Belvedere Assembly Plant, which is one of the largest employers in Boone and Winnebago counties, and whereas the city of Belvedere seeks to engage and partner with the state of Illinois to ensure that Illinois is a leader in the technological shift to electric, connected, and autonomous vehicles, and whereas other states are competing with Illinois to attract business, and whereas COVID-19 restrictions and a worldwide shortage of computer chips has resulted in periodic shutdowns at the Belvedere plant, and Stellantis was recently informed by Illinois that it will lose approximately $9.5 million a year in the state's EDGE tax credit, and whereas these circumstances threaten the economy of Northern Illinois and the state as a whole, and whereas Rock Valley College has invested $9.2 million at its new Advanced Technology Center in Belvedere to elevate the workforce at the Belvedere Assembly Plant and foster the next generation of automotive production employees in Northern Illinois, and whereas retaining Stellantis and helping the company expand and modernize its Belvedere Assembly Plant is critically important for the city of Belvedere, Northern Illinois, and the state as a whole, and whereas state incentives to support the electric vehicle industry could help retain and expand the operations of Stellantis and its suppliers in Northern Illinois, thus sustaining the Northern Illinois economy and helping the state maintain its commitment to carbon reduction initiatives and establishing Illinois as a national center of excellence in EV manufacturing. And whereas the city of Belvedere has a strong history of collaborating with the state of Illinois and the Belvedere Assembly Plant to facilitate plant expansions resulting in significant new employment. And whereas if the city of Belvedere and the state of Illinois do not cooperatively create a positive investment environment, it is inevitable that investment and employment opportunities will be missed. So that is the resolution, and I would ask for a motion to pass that resolution. Motion by Alderwoman Frank, second by Alderman McGee. Any questions regarding this? I think the city of Belvedere has a lot at stake here, more perhaps than anybody. You know, this affects Belvedere, and it affects the region. Some employees come from the state line across the border. But we need to do everything that we can to make sure that we represent Stellantis here for our community and for our city, because without them, the consequences will be very, very tough, and that's an understatement. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And then with that, for information, I had dictated a letter to Governor Pritzker, hoping to be able to have him come visit. I'd like to see him come visit Belvedere. I know he goes to Rockford, and he's been to Rockford several times, and I would like to see him come to Belvedere and you know, visit the Stellantis plant and have a good understanding of what it means to our community. So Item E, Public Works, we have Logan Avenue Rehabilitation Project, Construction Services. Brent?
Thank you, Your Honor. Memo in your packet. Attached to this memo is the proposal from Arc Design Resources for the construction services portion of our Logan Avenue Rehabilitation Project. That project is set for bid this winter with construction to begin in the early spring. The latest estimated construction cost is $2,231,000. And the proposal for construction services is not to exceed $116,000. I would recommend approval of that proposal from Arc Design Resources for the amount not to exceed $116,000 for the Logan Avenue Rehabilitation Project, and this work will be paid for from line item 10-5-310-8021.
Okay, do we have a motion to that effect? Alderwoman Prather, and second by Alderman Snow. Any comment, any questions for Brent? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. And Brent, then we have item F, the 6th Street Low Flow Channel, natural bottom option, if you would, please.
Again, memo in your packet, the Army Corps of Engineers has determined that our 6th Street drainage channel is an intermittent stream, and construction of a low-flow channel will constitute a morphological change and will require mitigation. Wetland impacts will also require mitigation, and the estimated cost of those mitigations is $610,000. And attached to this memo are the two options we have that have been preliminary approved by the Corps of Engineers. For the channel improvements, the natural bottom option has been approved by the property owner. And based on that information, I would recommend proceeding with the natural bottom option and approve the proposal from CES in the amount of $36,500 for the final engineering and stream and wetlands permitting for the 6th Street Channel Drainage Improvement Project. And this work will be paid for from line item 015-751-8058.
Okay. That being said, do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Stevens, second by Alderman Fleury. Any questions for Brent? Alderman Snow?
Brent, out of curiosity, so it's an intermittent stream, but does it ever actually drain to the river at all, or it just fills up?
No, it does drain to the river. Yes, it does drain to the river, and I can just point out, you'll notice the engineering portion, the final engineering for the wet bottom option is 3 times as much as it is for the hard option. And that's basically because initially we were going after the hard option from the beginning, so most of that work has been done. However, going to the wet bottom, it's basically a re-engineering effort in order to design it as a wet bottom, so that's what represents that cost. But the overall construction cost is quite a bit cheaper. So I think that's why we recommended going with that wet bottom option. And I can also point out, too, that this project would be eligible for our American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Thank you for doing that, Brent.
Two hands, Brent?
Yep. We hear that. All right. Any other questions for Brent? All righty. We have a motion then and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. And item G, Brent, Florence Court Water and Sewer. That is quite a project there.
Yeah, this is a good one. Again, a memo in your packet and some attachments. Basically, if you just go to page 2, the map, that pretty much sums it up. Recently, there's been some sanitary sewer issues, residents along Florence Court. So if you're looking at that map, there's 3 different red lines, 2 thicker ones and 1 thinner one. But those are the service lines that service those houses. So they actually connect house to house. We have a line with 2 houses connected, a second line that goes down the middle of Florence now, service line with 2 houses connected to that one. And then the other one has 3 houses connected to it. So, and on the water side, again, looking at the map, we've got a 1-inch service line that goes down Florence that connects 5 of the houses, and then we've got another interconnect between the 2 properties to serve on the other one. So to make a permanent fix solution for this issue, We would recommend that we put in a sanitary sewer main and a water main in Florence Court that's connected to Logan Avenue. Now, of course, would be time to do that and coordinate that with the construction and the rehabilitation of Logan Avenue. By doing that, by putting in those main lines within the right-of-way, that right-of-way is only 25 feet wide. This subdivision was platted in 1896. So basically, we're gonna have to remove there's sidewalk on one side and the pavement, so everything's gonna come out. So it'll be a total reconstruction, basically, of Florence Court when we're all done. I've got a proposal from Arc Design Resources for the engineering services required to complete all of that project. It includes the survey work, the design work, the bidding work, the construction inspection, material testing, the whole thing for $28,800. Their preliminary cost estimate for construction is $236,000. I would recommend approval of the engineering services proposal from Arc Design Resources in an amount not to exceed $28,800 for the Florence Court Water and Sewer Project. And again, this is another project that would be eligible for funding from the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Motion by Alderman Snow, second by Alderwoman Mulhall. Alderman Snow.
So at this point, we've got the three thicker lines that are going through and the small thin ones. So is this to say that once we put the new line down Florence, that the houses are gonna need to tap into that at that point? And who's responsible for accomplishing that?
That's correct. So what we will do on our part, we will install basically a water main and sanitary sewer main in Florence Court, and we'll also install services to the property lines for each one of those properties. And then as those properties see fit, they can then they would have to pay a plumber to make those connections into that service line.
So at this point, they're not obligated to hook up, but they'll have the ability to when the time comes?
Correct.
Okay.
So there will be no connection fees or anything because they're already connected to the system.
So Brent, how did you found this because of failure, right?
Yeah, once we had a sewer backup issue, so the guys, of course, we go back to our old plat books and our records, and then we do some camera of the lines and what we could get into, knocking on the houses, getting in the basements, and basically this is what we've uncovered. So it's a real spaghetti bowl, actually.
Okay. And here, I thought you were here a long time, and you probably knew that, but that isn't the case.
Well, yeah, not all of it comes to light, but this one was pretty bad. And like I said, it was originally platted back in 1896, so I can understand how it morphed into what it is now.
As long as we're going to be over there, they're going to be working on Logan, it would be the appropriate time then to correct that so that anybody in the future that needs to be connected, we have facilities out there. So, Alderman Stevens.
How big of a water line are we talking, and will we be able to get a fire hydrant on the end of that court there?
Yes, the plan is to put a fire hydrant on the end. It will be an 8-inch main as required by EPA. So, because we're tying into the 4-inch, we'll have to see what all is out there, but we'll be tying into the existing on Logan, and it'll be an 8-inch sanitary sewer main as well. And right now, they're only tied into 1-inch service lines. They got five users on a 1-inch line. That's not good.
Wow. Thank you, Alderman. Are you done, Alderman Stevens? Thank you. Alderman Snow?
So again, I'm a little concerned as to, so which one of the houses actually had the issue that, that they're gonna wind up potentially making benefit of this?
I think the first one that came to light that kind of raised the issue to start with, I believe, was the houses that are on the west side of the road, the 3 houses that are connected to the one line. It was either between 2 of the houses, and I don't remember now which 2 of the houses, but that's where it all started.
Okay, any other questions? All right, hearing none, then we have a motion and a second on the floor to recommend the approval of the engineering services proposal from Arc Design Resources in an amount not to exceed $28,800 for the Florence Court Water and Sewer Project. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. And with that being said, we have nothing further on the agenda. We get a motion to adjourn, please. Alderman Fleury, second by Alderman McGee. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to stay? Okay, for the record, we adjourned at 7 PM. Thank you, everybody.